Hey, what's going on? This is Troy, and this is the Planet 76 podcast, your source for Sixers news, highlights, hot takes, and more. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, everyone, to a new episode of the Planet 76 podcast. I am your co-host, Michael from Trust to Love, and Troy's back for this episode. For those that don't know, I did a solo episode.
That's good.
Not really a week ago, but close enough to a week. And we are fully back with, obviously, here, Troy. We're going to be doing a full episode this week. Draft stuff, free agency, trades, as usual. So before we get into the episode, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever the case may be. And make sure you guys go follow us on Instagram, Planet76 Podcast. That's all. We're going to get into the episode. And Troy, welcome back. I feel like that's fitting for this episode.
Let's do it. Good to be back. Yeah, I know. I saw last episode. Right. Last episode, the mini 12.5. Yes. This is episode 13.
Yes.
Like you said, you did a short one in between. So good to be back. Like you said, that we got a lot to cover. A full slate of free agency talk, NBA draft talk, and of course, our favorite two people to talk about on this podcast to date, Damian Lillard and Ben Simmons. We'll give our thoughts on that continued development, if you will. I guess we can call it that, and just give even our opinions on that and stuff. So, man. Where do we want to start? Do we want to go in order of like what happened first? We can start with the draft, I guess.
That works for me. I say we start draft.
The Sixers draft. Was there anything outside of the Sixers though, draft related? Like, was there anything weird draft night? Anything big? I don't really recall. Seemed like everything kind of went as planned. Just around the
Josh
league.
Giddey going number 5 was, at least for me, apparently to a lot of people that wasn't surprising, but to me it was.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey going number 5 to the Thunder, a little bit high, but that's just my opinion. I was talking to a few people after the draft who did actual research into the draft, and they were like, no, that's pretty accurate for me, so kind of surprising. But that's one move that I would say. Personally, in my opinion, I thought Josh Giddey did go a little high, but again, the Thunder liked him.
Yeah, and the Thunder have 85 picks anyway, so they can spare to, hit or miss here or there, I guess. I don't know what else was news or noteworthy related to the draft. Obviously, it came very, very quick this year, following the conclusion of the finals and whatnot. But the Sixers, so we previewed the draft a little bit. One name that we did not mention was Jaden Springer, and that's who they got in the first round. What do you know about him? I personally don't know a ton. I know he's very young. He's only, 18, 19. What's the word on him? Anything?
Yeah, he's 18. He's 18. And yeah, for me, like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really too knowledgeable on him as a player. Hopefully Summer League changes that for me. I'm hoping to tune into at least a few games for the Sixers in the Summer League. But he seems like a pretty good two-way player from what I've gathered. Again, he's from Tennessee. The Sixers got him with the 28th pick. Now, a lot of people were mad. Spoiler alert. Everyone gets mad nowadays. But a lot of people were mad that the Sixers didn't trade the pick, or they didn't take this guy. Bottom line is Daryl Morey took, in his eyes, the best player available. And from what I've seen so far, it's a great pick. I have no problems with it. He seems like he's a really good player, really solid young player, and I'm excited to have him on the team.
Well said. Yeah, I read that he's a 3-and-D player, like you said, a good two-way guy. Out of Tennessee, very young.
Yes.
I hate to say it. I don't know why. Don't get mad. I hate, like, the person that comes to mind when I again, I don't know a ton about him, and they're probably very, very different players, but just the age thing.
Me neither, yeah.
And kind of seeming like he's developing, if you will, and I could be completely wrong. But the one guy that I'm like, we've had a similar pick, and that was Zaire Smith. Not saying they play alike at all, but just the age and like the development kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm just like, wow, okay. And I have no idea. And Zaire Smith was not a 3-point specialist by any means. He was just a super athlete and could obviously play defense, but just with the age thing and kind of the size maybe makes me remind of him. The guy that we drafted in the second round, Charles Bassey, I actually know more about him than I do Springer.
Really? I know way less, and I thought I knew nothing about Springer. So
Charles Bassey, ready for this? I watched him play probably 2 or 3 times back in November. The very, very beginning of the college basketball season. Charles Bassey from Western Kentucky. We got him in the 50s picks. The only reason I watched him play was because West Virginia, my favorite college team, is in a early season tournament with Western Kentucky, and West Virginia played them. And Bassey was like the talk of the broadcast. He played pretty well, a couple games, like I said, and. What was really interesting, and now I'm like, okay, when they drafted him, I was like, no way, because I was like, I watched that guy play a few months ago, and so this is early season, and he was projected, like they were talking about him like he's going to be a draft pick, like this guy's going to play in the NBA, and so that's like encouraging to me
the future.
To say like, okay, we got a guy in the 50s who wasn't a late like riser in the draft world. Like this dude early season was projected to be in the NBA, and sure enough he got drafted, and so he was pretty impressive. He played against West Virginia's bigs pretty well, but I just thought that was interesting. Like this isn't a guy who snuck into the draft. He was expected to be there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So we'll see how he pans out. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the summer league along with the other guys. I don't know. Did you see the Jello ball? It dropped 16 today in the summer league.
I was actually watching that game earlier. I was actually watching the Hornets Blazers game. That was I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty entertaining game. There were some really nice highlight plays. Kai Jones.
Yep.
Again, like you mentioned, LiAngelo Ball, Michael Beasley was playing.
That's
Kenneth
weird.
Faried was playing. Blast from the past.
That's weird.
But it was actually a really good game, surprisingly, and it was. Yeah, I was really happy to see LiAngelo Ball get a chance. Hopefully he gets picked up by an actual roster.
Right.
That would be cool.
Off to a good start. 16 points, only 16 minutes played. Who knows? Maybe for not Lonzo, what's his face? For LaMelo, they'll keep him on.
LaMelo. Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? But I was a little surprised. I don't know. I don't know a ton about LiAngelo, but good to see that. Yeah, Michael Beasley playing Summer League is just very odd. Faried playing Summer League, like, isn't there an age cutoff? Like,
I don't think there is, to be honest with you. I think if you just take a few years off the NBA, I think you can join a Summer League team.
That's nuts.
And you can play whatever team wants to pick you up. They can.
Michael Beasley's probably like the plug. He's probably like buying dudes alcohol that are under 21 and all that fun stuff, because there's most of the guys down there are under 21, so he's like got the hookup. I mean, that dude's
true.
He's early 30s, I guess. He was in college in like 2007, somewhere in there. So interesting. Anyway, I don't know what else there is about our draft picks. Like you said, Summer League kicking up will show us some stuff there. And again, not a whole lot surprising around the NBA draft. Cade Cunningham going number 1. I love Sacramento's pick, Davion Mitchell. Got him wherever they were, around 10, 11, 12. Jalen Suggs went to Orlando, right?
Really surprised that he fell that low, but the Magic got a good one.
Yeah. For sure. What else has been going on in free agency? Anything big? The Bulls have made some moves.
Yeah, free agency. I mean, nothing. Yeah. Oh,
Lakers
Bulls,
have endless money. Lakers just have a pot of gold. Somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
What's the average age of their team? I mean, it's got to be the league leading. Because they brought Westbrook in, they brought Dwight in, They brought Kendrick Nunn in. He's a younger guy, but There's a couple others.
Melo.
Yeah, duh. Carmelo. Oh, my gosh.
Trevor Ariza. Wayne Ellington, blast from the past.
Jeez.
And what other guy did they pick up? Did you say Dwight Howard already?
Dwight Howard. They're old, man.
They stole Dwight Howard from us, even though it looked like Dwight actually wanted to go back to the Lakers anyway.
Yeah,
so
Dwight said he was on vacation for a year in Philadelphia. That hurt my feelings a little bit.
Wow, I read that today. I was like, is this true? I really hope this isn't true. But
oh yeah, he said it on his
really
IG
mean.
Live.
I can't believe Dwight said that. I can't believe that.
That is mean.
Man,
what a jerk.
He looked like he really enjoyed. He looked like he really enjoyed his time here.
Yep. I guess he's gonna have to get the the Frosties, Wendy's equivalent of a Frosty at In-N-Out or something in California, because it's just not the same. No Frosties after 2 missed free throws out in LA.
Yeah, I don't know what the equivalent of. I mean, do they have Wendy's out there? I don't even know.
I guess In-N-Out though. Oh man. So yeah, they're very old. They've made a ton of moves. They have no shooting. I mean, Wayne Ellington, Carmelo, but I don't know. Those guys are old.
The amount of non-shooting kind of outweighs the amount of shooting, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's trouble. They're gonna have to pick up somebody or get some young guy. Like again, a Wayne Ellington and a Carmelo who can hit a couple shots for you, but they're not gonna be guys that play 30 plus minutes. You need guys on the floor that are younger, have good legs, that can create a shot for themselves around the 3-point line, and they don't have that right now. So who knows what they're going to do. But they've been very busy. The Bulls have been busy getting Lonzo, among others. Who else went there?
The Bulls, they got DeRozan, Lonzo. That's about it, to be honest. They built a nice, solid team around Vucevic and Levine.
Lauri Markkanen wants out.
I think, which I don't know what team's going to want him. He has a big contract.
Yeah, he's still young. We'll see where he ends up. Other than that, not a whole lot, but around the 76ers. So we've already alluded to a couple, but who's staying, who's leaving, and who's brand new?
Mm-hmm.
Who we got?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it in my little mini episode. Nothing too major. The Sixers kept Furkan, Danny Green. Very, very good of them to keep Danny Green. And I think he's going to be making less money than he was this past season, which is, in my opinion, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And Dwight Howard obviously left for the Lakers, which, again, I would have liked to have Dwight back, but if that's how he feels, then he can stay. That's for all I care. I do think he's better than Drummond as a backup, but again, if that's what he wants, then so be it. And then they signed Georges Niang, former Utah Jazz player. I like that signing a lot. I think he's going to help this team a lot off the bench. Hopefully he replaces Mike Scott, because we don't need Mike Scott anymore, right. And I don't want him back. And I'm pretty sure Georges Niang can do everything Mike Scott does, but probably better. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we get that. And Georges Niang is a very good shooter as well. I think he was 40% on some very good number of attempts per game last season.
Yeah, he's right around
I'm really
40.
Excited for that. And then the Drummond thing, I'm not too mad at it. I mean, I'm not even really mad at it.
Andre Drummond.
I think it's fine. Really. I mean, I feel like if you don't get Dwight Howard back, he's probably the next best thing. He's good for a solid 12, 13 minutes a night. He'll block shots. He'll rebound. He'll play some good defense.
The Andre Drummond signing is just hilarious.
It is kind of hilarious, yeah.
Given the history.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was he hurt last year? Because he was with the Lakers at the end of the year. I don't
know if he was hurt. I think he just got bought out by the Pistons. Or was it the Cavs? Cavs.
But I don't remember him playing a big role in the playoffs against the Suns for the Lakers.
No. He was. I think he was out of the rotation, to be honest with you. But it's mostly because of the Lakers' backlog at big man with Marc Gasol, Anthony Davis, And then who else did they have? Did they have JaVale McGee?
Yes.
No. They
No?
didn't have JaVale
No.
McGee. He was on the Cavs as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Andre Drummond, that's
and he
weird.
didn't really fit, in that lineup.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Obviously, the one complaint you've seen people have about Andre Drummond, which I don't necessarily care about, like they're like, oh, we needed someone to stretch the floor at the 5, and that's certainly not Andre Drummond. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you go and get the best backup big you can, and I personally think Andre Drummond is very good for that. You say you like Dwight better. Yeah. I mean, again, it's not like I keep up with Drummond and what he's been doing exactly lately, but I mean, if Drummond can be anywhere near as effective as he's been, then I think he's great. And he's not like, he's not old like Dwight. He's only in his upper 20s. If he can fit into a role where he's comfortable and again, getting 13, 14, 15 minutes and just playing that and doing well and getting rebounds and I think he's good. I mean, the history he has with Embiid is funny, and all the jokes and things and the real estate in his head and all that. But at the end of the day, I think Andre Drummond can be very, very good for this team. I mean, think about it. Every once in a while, you'll see Drummond, like a few years ago, he'd have like games of 30 and 25 boards. Like, I mean, he's good. We'll just have to see how it plays out in Philadelphia. And then with Niang, he's a guy I watched play a lot in college. He's a Big 12 guy from Iowa State. Very good player there, 3-4 year player. As you mentioned, a good shooter. 40% from 3 for Niang. He's just good. So I think, again, filling into a Mike Scott-esque role and play the position well, I think that's a good signing for us. A little younger than Mike.
Yes.
He only averaged a few points for the Jazz, but that's all I asked him to do. In a 3-point heavy offense, he can shoot it a little bit, stretch the floor for us, get some good minutes, stay consistent, stay healthy. I like the pickup. I don't know about you, but these aren't.
And then with the Drummond thing,
go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't know about you, but these aren't names that I envisioned being on the Sixers via free agency, or even these aren't exactly big splashes in free agency, or I think I saw some posts that you had some grades for the Sixers, but I mean, what's your take on what they've done? Obviously, it's not like, yes, we got Andre Drummond, that's amazing, but role players that we want to fit in, how do we feel, I guess?
Right, and to go along with that Andre Drummond bit, I don't know that he's necessarily. I mean, and I hate to say this because NBA players are good. They're the best in the world at what they do, but I don't know that Andre Drummond is really a good NBA player. He's
what?
Sir, he'll get the job done. He doesn't really have anything in particular that he's good at. I mean, he's a good rebounder, but that doesn't really tell me much, But again, he'll get the job done. He'll get rebounds. He'll block shots. He'll do what a backup big man is supposed to do. And yeah, so that's a lot of people thought that was funny when I mentioned that. I think it was probably the day of the signing, and then people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's hilarious!" And I was like, "It's true, unfortunately." But again, he'll get the job done. He'll be fine. I don't mind the signing at all. And then the Georges Niang signing and the grades, I would overall, I mean, I guess I did give the Sixers what did I give them? A C+, I think, for my free agent grades. I think I gave them a C+. I might give it a B. I think I mentioned in my story that since the Sixers were able to get Danny Green back, I would raise my grade to a B overall.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it was after the Georges Niang signing. Okay, I think getting Danny Green back bumps my grade up to a B.
Okay,
because I think keeping Danny Green was huge for the Sixers this offseason. And Daryl Morey said it too. I think he said it today or yesterday when the signing got announced. Getting Danny back was a number one priority for us this offseason, and I agree. I think I made a post about it as well. but overall, I'd give it a B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one back to Drummond.
Because, like you said, there wasn't really. Go ahead, yeah.
When we've seen Andre Drummond at his best, it's like when he's the guy, like when he's the starting center on a team. So it's going to be interesting to see him in this different role, even in LA, like he's at least fighting for minutes, fighting for like to be that guy at that center position, I guess. And everywhere else he's been that guy, and now he's behind the runner-up in the MVP, Joel Embiid. Like, how's he going to do in this role is my question. And, again, hopefully he plays into it. When we've seen Andre Drummond at his best, he's, averaging 13, 14 rebounds a game at the starting center spot, but that's not going to happen. It's not. You can more realistically look along for Dwight Howard's numbers of last year, averaging about 8 and 8, 7 and 7. Can Andre reach that and be as productive, if not more productive, than Dwight? That's my thought there.
So you're saying, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, are you saying can he be as productive as Dwight?
Yeah. I mean, I think regular season Dwight, you and I are very happy with, and most Sixers fans were happy with. So
yes.
Can Drummond do that?
Yes.
At least. Then I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's going to be the big question.
And then in the 15 to 20 games that Joel Embiid misses, how's Andre Drummond going to do? Because those games last year, Dwight Howard didn't even start some of them because he was more comfortable off the bench. Andre Drummond is going to start those games, I'm sure of it. How's he going to look then? Is he going to be a double-double guy? Is he going to go out and get us 15 and 15? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he did because he's done that in the past. We'll just have to see. So I think those are the two things. Can he fit into that bench role? And when Joel is out, because we know he's going to be out, how's he going to look?
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
I never thought we would talk about Andre Drummond so much on the Planet 76 podcast, but here we are. He's a 76er. So moving on from him, thank goodness. Okay, no big splashes in free agency. Do you think a lot of that is due to the fact, transitioning to our next topic, is a lot of that due to the fact that this team wants Damian Lillard?
Well, I don't know if it so much has to do with the fact that they want Dame as opposed to them just not really having much cap space to even work with because Simmons, Embiid, and Harris are all under contract. But, however, they probably could have done a little more, so that maybe makes me think, hey, are they trying to save room for a potential Damian Lillard trade? Because, I mean, if it wasn't clear already, the Sixers' primary goal is to get Dame. And something came out today. I read it briefly and I put it on my story, but I didn't really read it. It was from The Athletic. The quote is, "It will be fair to say the goal is less to trade Ben Simmons and more to acquire Dame." So the two probably go a little more hand in hand, and this quote would let on. But I get it. I understand where that's coming from because it does tie into the goal of the Sixers wanting to get Dame. That should be their goal moving forward until the offseason ends, and even into the season maybe.
Yeah. Damian Lillard. I mean, we said it. If people would just listen to us, they wouldn't be surprised by these quotes coming out because we said this 2 months ago. It's Damian Lillard or nothing.
Yeah.
And that's where the Sixers are at. It
Yes.
appears. Yeah, that quote. It'd be fair to say the goal is less to trade Ben and more to acquire Damian Lillard. A lot of Sixers fans probably don't like that. So does that mean if Damian Lillard doesn't request a trade that Ben Simmons is on the Philadelphia 76ers next year? Doesn't look like Bradley Beal's going anywhere.
Yeah. For me, I mean, now that like you mentioned, it doesn't look like Beal is going anywhere. They just made a trade to get Spencer Dinwiddie to Washington to put pieces around Beal. So I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't know if he's going to request a trade. Zach LaVine's not going anywhere. Doesn't look like the Kings are going to try and offer us De'Aaron Fox anytime soon. Damian Lillard is the only scenario right now that seems like Ben Simmons will be involved with. And if Dame doesn't request a trade, I don't think Simmons will be traded. I think he will be here, probably at the start of training camp, probably a little bit into the season. Now, if Dame does request a trade, there's still a chance Ben stays because there's still a chance that the Sixers miss out on that. However, I think the Sixers have the best possible deal to offer the Trailblazers for Damian Lillard. Out of the maybe 2 or 3 other teams that would be involved, in my opinion, maybe the Knicks and the Celtics are probably the only other 2 teams that have the assets and the possible deals and the need to acquire Dame.
Well said. Are you personally okay with what you just said, with it still being Damian Lillard or Ben stays? Are you okay if Ben is here and this is the team? Like, this is the team. Like, no other moves. This is it. Are you all right with that?
Well, I think it's more of me being on the side of getting enough value for Simmons that makes the Sixers better, because I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast, but I've definitely made posts about it. Just trading Ben doesn't make the Sixers better. A lot of people have told me that, and I couldn't disagree more, because he still brings a lot to the team, and although his flaws are very, I guess you could say, under the microscope as of late, he still brings a lot to the team. So even if he is here, I mean, we'd really have no choice but to accept it, because if the goal is Damian Lillard and Damian Lillard isn't available, our only option is keeping Simmons, because we're not going to trade him for a mediocre package.
Right.
Daryl Morey has said this on multiple. Well, he's definitely said it on one occasion, but he's also said other things, air quotes, on other occasions. So Daryl Morey is going to accept nothing less of what he believes is equal value for Ben Simmons. Otherwise, Ben Simmons is going to stay. So, am I okay with that? I mean, again, I think we all might have to be okay with it, because if you're a Sixers fan, you're going to root for the Sixers. You're not going to root for Ben Simmons to be off the team.
Right.
So, in terms of a team aspect, I guess I would, if we don't get Dame, I guess I'd have to be okay with it, because it's the team. I got to root for the Sixers. You can see these posters back here. I got a Sixers wall in here. I can't not root for the Sixers, So right. I guess I have to be okay with it.
You have to be okay with it. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I'm happy that Daryl's not just in this mode, or even this quote coming out that the Sixers aren't in this mode of let's just get rid of Ben Simmons, get him off the team, Yeah. Because one, that gives off desperation. 2, desperation shows that okay, we can get him for a good package. Like, he's affordable, and you don't want other teams thinking that he's affordable.
Correct.
And
Daryl playing chess.
Everybody else playing checkers. Daryl's playing chess. But what do you make of? And it might be leaks from other teams who are trying to lessen the package for Ben Simmons, but. There's news, the latest news on Ben Simmons in particular is that he's cut off communication with the Sixers. He hasn't responded to Joel Embiid's calls and text messages. Like, that's the latest development over the last few days. I don't know. Maybe there's just not good service out in L.A. at the mansion. Like, what do you make of all that? I don't believe it.
I mean, I don't believe it either. And I'm not just saying that because I like Ben Simmons. Objectively speaking, you can't really just believe everything that you read in sports nowadays at face value. You have to look at who's reporting it, the context. Oh, the Warriors are interested in Simmons. Oh, a Warriors reporter is saying these things. Could he be trying to lower Simmons' value?
Right.
Could he be trying to, stir the pot in some way? You got to ask questions. You have to think about the situation. You can't just, oh my God, Simmons cut off communication. Oh my gosh. You gotta look a little bit deeper into the situation and then maybe come to a conclusion afterwards. So for me, I did that. It was the same process for me that I just said out loud. And I've come to the conclusion that I don't really believe it. Again, objectively speaking, it just doesn't seem like this is actually going on.
Yeah, and things aren't lining up you know, you read one article that says something like, okay, the Sixers are not going to get rid of him unless it's for Damian Lillard or something like that. And then you read another article. I read something today, or at least the title of it just made me laugh so hard. It was an article released today by a pretty credible source, or well-known source, if you will. Sixers and Ben Simmons have reached the point of no return, whatever that means.
It's just there's so many things conflicting that you just don't know. You just don't know.
Do I believe that the Sixers have reached the point of no return? Absolutely not.
No.
It's just
no way.
Ben Simmons doesn't have enough leverage to.
It doesn't make any sense.
Or his agent, they don't have enough room to say that he's not coming back. Make demands to again, even you see someone says, well, Ben Simmons prefers this team, that team, and that team, and it's like Ben Simmons doesn't have a say.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up.
It doesn't. I don't know. I don't think Ben Simmons personally is like dying to leave. I don't know. I've never gotten that vibe from him.
Yeah.
He had a rough series against the Atlanta Hawks.
I don't see that either, to be honest with you. I don't see that either.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be fine either way if he got traded or not, but I don't see that either.
Right. It's chaos. Yeah, I saw something that was.
You got that right.
He likes the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Warriors, 3 California teams.
Like what?
And that's just based on because he spends time there and because he's friends with LeBron.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Thinking about the situation and coming to your own conclusions. That's what people don't do.
So what do you think Damian Lillard's going to do? Damian Lillard is coming home, fresh off a gold medal in the Olympics. Verbally has, unhappy, I guess. I mean, who would be happy with how things have gone in Portland over the last number of years even? Not making any deep playoff runs, not really putting a supporting cast around him. What's the biggest thing they've done? They've went and got a 30-something-year-old Carmelo Anthony. Like, they haven't really helped Damian Lillard. CJ McCollum came in, but that's a draft pick. Like, but the thing about Damian Lillard, and the thing that I think personally, and now again, I'm not in Damian Lillard's camp. I'm not Damian Lillard himself. I'm not one of his best friends, but I think Damian Lillard is struggling with this whole loyalty thing because he has self-proclaimed. He's kind of dug himself in a hole to say, I am
He's
so loyal.
He's doubled and tripled down on the fact that he is so loyal to this franchise, that he's having a hard time pulling away from that and stepping away and saying, hey, like, for my career, it might be best if I move on.
Exactly.
He's just, he may be just stuck on that, like what you're mentioning.
That's what I think.
Being so loyal to this franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's verbally said it, and he's recognized as one of the most loyal guys in the NBA, if not the most loyal guy in the NBA.
And he called out Paul George for leaving.
Right. He's called out everybody.
A couple of years ago.
He said, there's a quote a few years ago saying, I'm not going chasing these rings like these other guys, and like now he's like, oh crap, I said all these things.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go back on that or have these past quotes come up after he leaves Portland, I personally think, and again, I don't know, but I think that might be what Damian Lillard's struggling with. I think he might want out, but he doesn't know how to get out now. That's just my thought.
If we're just assuming, I feel like that's a pretty fair assumption because again, we both have no idea. But if we're left to assume things, that might be a fair assumption to make.
Yep. He's not happy, and he's over 30. He's at 30 years old now. He's not going to win a ring in Portland. Let's just be honest.
He hasn't really won anything at all.
And he's not going to there. If we're being completely honest, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Especially out in the West. Like, who can they possibly get in the next couple years? Like, they're not going to get anybody. They haven't in the past, and they're not going to get anybody when Damian Lillard's older. So it's like, if he wants to play for championships, and he wants to do it with the best big man in the league, come on down. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
So we'll see. If he requests a trade, things are going to be popping. That's going to win it. That's going to be when it's going to get really, really interesting. So we'll see if that happens. What is, in 30 seconds or less, what is the trade package for Damian Lillard? What is it? What do you offer?
So I would offer, obviously, Ben Simmons. I'd offer Tyrese Maxey. I'd offer Shake Milton. As many as many first and second round picks as humanly possible. If it's in the 2030 draft, I don't care. Give it all up to get Damian Lillard here. That's what I would offer. I feel like that's a really good package.
Yeah, it is for a team that needs to rebuild. It is.
Correct. Ben
Simmons, a 3-time All-Star, multiple-time defensive player.
And if you're trading Dame, you're more than likely rebuilding.
And they are, and they're rebuilding with one All-Star guard, two, I don't know what the word is, two guards that can really play the game, and they've proven that are also very young, and a bunch of draft picks. So your goal, again, in your ideal scenario, it's keeping Matisse here. I would love that.
I wouldn't mind keeping Matisse. Yeah,
I would love that. I know we both saw Instagram posts featuring Matisse and Damian Lillard, best friends. That's cool. Yeah, I'm down with that. Okay, so that's the ideal package. Nothing wrong with that. I agree with that. We'll see what happens. It's waiting on Damian Lillard to request a trade season. That's what we're in right now.
It's Dame time.
So what else? What's next besides Summer League and all that stuff?
Well, we got training camp. Starts the end of September, and then the regular season is back on track to begin in mid-October, as it did 2 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. That's usually the starting time, mid-October, late October. So things are getting back on track for the NBA, which is actually really good. I'm really excited.
Right. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're just waiting on Damian Lillard. Is there any other free agent available, or other than a trade for Damian Lillard, this team is set? Does it seem that way?
What did you say you cut out?
Other than a trade for Damian Lillard, does it seem like this team is set?
Well, for the most part, yeah. I think the Sixers still have a little bit of flexibility to use certain deals on players. I think they may have a veterans minimum left. I think they might have a mid-league exception left, which they do, I believe, because they only had a $9.8 million mid-league exception, I believe, and they only used 3.5 on Georges Niang. It's right. A 2-year deal. I think he ended with a $7 million deal for 2 years. So I think they may have a little bit of money left over, and I think they have a veterans minimum contract. Okay. So they could bring in at least one more, but at most 2 more guys if they decide to do that.
Okay, and if it's one, what kind of guy?
For the most part,
what kind of guy are you looking for? If it's one player.
Well, another wing. I mean, you can never have too many wings. Preferably a guy that can shoot the ball and defend. There's always guys out there that can do that. So hopefully one more, and then maybe also another backup guard. Because if you trade Milton and Maxey, right, your guard depth is pretty low, especially considering they waived George Hill. So you may want to bring in another guard, but ideally a backup wing who can shoot and defend.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I haven't thought of that, but yeah, I agree with backup wings. But a point guard, if this trade were to go down, we don't have a backup point guard. We're losing 3 point guards for one, and then we have guards consisting of Damian Lillard, Seth Curry, and Danny Green. We would need a backup one. I don't know who's available, but that's what we need for sure. Okay. All right. It's Dame time.
Yes.
I hope so. Anything else?
I don't think so. Hopefully, maybe next couple of days, Dame requests a trade, and then next episode we can talk about it. Maybe. Yeah,
we'll do an emergency podcast.
Just maybe.
Damian Lillard.
Oh, definitely. If Dame requests a trade, definitely.
It's time.
Time is ticking. It's Dame time. Let's go.
It's time. Let's go. All right. That's it for Planet 76. We'll have an episode out here in a few days. Today is what? Sunday, August 8th. We're recording on Sunday night. We're just cool like that. I don't know. We're not closed ever. So Sunday, August 8th is the recording time. Maybe you're listening to this on a Wednesday and Damian Lillard already requested a trade, and we're like, why are we still talking about? Well, that's because we recorded on Sunday. So
we were early.
We'll see about that. And we'll see you next time on Planet 76. Maybe catch up on some Summer League action. Of course, talk about our favorite guys, Damian Lillard and Ben Simmons, and push ahead to the start of the Summer League training camp coming up end of September. It'll be here before you know it, folks. And we hope that you will join us along the ride, Planet 76. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
You just listened to an episode of the Planet 76 podcast. Hey, we appreciate you joining us for this episode. Whatever platform you're on, why don't you hit that subscribe button for us, and we'll see you next time.